Lechonk, a Pokemon that upon its reveal was universally loved by Pokemon fans since it's a chunky little pig. It's the early route normal type Pokemon of the PaPaSea region, as every region has one of those, but what if we tried to beat Pokemon Scarlet using only Lechonk? Let's try and see if we can do it. So let's get right into it. After catching a Lechonk, I immediately connect online and pick up the 50 free Ice Terra Shards that were available when I did this run. By the time this video goes up, the event will probably be over, but if we ever need to change our Terra type for any reason, now we can without having to grind shards, which can take a while. After that, I level up Lechonk to level 21 for the first gyms. We can learn Headbutt. This is a great normal type move to have, and I mainly wanted it so that way we can one-shot Katie's Nimble since it has double kick, which does a lot of damage to us. We're still faster than Nimble and one-shot it with Headbutt, then we proceed to one-shot Torrentula, then flinch the Teddiursa and knock it out on the following turn. That was a lot easier than I thought, as if you take a look at Lechonk's stats, they leave a lot to be desired. At least its move pool isn't half bad though, definitely better than Flittle's, which we also did a solo run with, which you haven't seen yet because I might have accidentally deleted all of that footage, which is rather painful. The second gym we take on is Brassius. Can his grass-type Pokemon handle one chunky pig? Let's find out. I accidentally don't click Terastallize on his Petalil, something that happens a lot in this run, but we dodge the Sleep Powder anyway and knock it out on the following turn. On Smoliv, it somehow lives a hit even though it's literally just a terrified little olive. What the f*** you say to me, you little So we take one Razor Leaf from it before knocking it out. Then on his Ace Sudowoodo, it tanks a hit but also has Trailblaze, which increases his speed, so on the next turn Sudowoodo's faster than Lechonk and just knocks it out. I leveled Lechonk one level because I thought this would be enough to one-shot his first two Pokemon. It was not enough to one-shot his first two Pokemon, so his Sudowoodo does the Trailblaze thing again and knocks us out. I really thought we'd just win this battle first try, and then on attempt number 3, I thought I'd be smart and give Lechonk a Chesto Berry in case we don't one-shot the Petalil and it goes for Sleep Powder, and that's exactly what happened. Then Smoliv also somehow lives a hit even though we knocked it out in one hit when we were a lower level, and then Sudowoodo does, well, you know what Sudowoodo does. I decided to level up twice now to level 26 since leveling up just once didn't work, and in the process I found a shiny Skiddo. I found a full odd shiny Murkrow on my main game the day before this, so shiny luck hopefully translates into battle luck. Level 26 means we have enough pig power to one-shot Petalil and Smoliv, as Headbutt is a 3-hit KO on his Sudowoodo. It unfortunately doesn't look like we can take 3 Trailblazes from Sudowoodo though, but just kidding, we live with 1 HP thanks to our shiny luck, and knock out Sudowoodo for the second gym badge. Next up is Levincia to fight Iono, which is great since we can get the Metronome item here as well. This item is great as if a Pokemon is holding it and it goes for the same move over and over again, it will just get stronger each turn until it caps out, which is fantastic for solo runs especially. Now going back to Lechonk's moveset, it does get some decent ground type moves like Dig and Bulldoze, however 2 of Iono's 4 Pokemon are immune to ground anyway, as Wattrel's part flying type and her Terra Mismagius has a levitate ability. I just go in and spam Headbutt, but that isn't enough to take out Bellibolt. Looks like this frog out-chonked us, but not for long. Attempt number 2, I go to level 32 and also go for Workup on Wattrel now since it'll be a 2-hit KO on Wattrel anyway if I just go for Headbutts. We do have to take a Spark this way though, and we do more damage to Bellibolt now, but it out-chunks us once again. The worst part is, even after Bellibolt, she has a Luxia with Intimidate and Mismagius, which is just really fast. So Bellibolt isn't our only problem here, we still have 2 pretty big problems after it. So I go to level 34 and Wattrel paralyzes us first turn, which pretty much ends the battle right there. On my next attempt I think, what if I just go for digs on Bellibolt and don't rely on Metronome so much? That sounds like a good idea, but nope, Wattrel paralyzes us first turn again. Seeing as this Wattrel is getting a 10% chance every time, I get rather frustrated and just give Lechonk a Cherry Berry to cure our paralysis. But then on the next attempt, Iono somehow knows we have a berry and goes for Pluck to eat our berry. Why did you not go for Pluck on the last 7 attempts, Iono? We at least don't get paralyzed that way, and although Dig doesn't do too much damage to Bellibolt, we still finally push past Bellibolt just for Luxio to intimidate us and then knock us out. Now I went on a 2-hour ordeal trying to just defeat Iono, and ultimately realized we need to just not be paralyzed by Wattrel, be strong enough to take out Bellibolt, and fast enough so Mismagius doesn't just knock us out as soon as it's sent out. The only way we can do that is if we increase our speed, and the only move that we can increase our speed with is with Trailblaze, funny because we just got wrecked by Trailblaze from Sudowoodo, and it's also a 50 base power grass move. This was an absolute gauntlet, as this is the luckiest Wattrel in the world, which at one point paralyzed us with Spark on the first turn for, I want to say, 4 times in a row. What are the odds of that? I have no idea because it's been so long since I last took a statistics class. I also start using Double Edge, which is a lot more powerful than Headbutt as it can one-shot Belly Bolt a bit easier, but we take a lot of recoil damage, so we might not survive all of it to the end of the battle. Eventually though, our Trailblaze and workup strategy with Metronome works to get us all set up, and we're able to one-shot everything up until Hermes Magius. It's pretty frail, so after it terrestrializes, 1 Headbutt should be enough, and yup, it's still faster and knocks us out. You know what, Iono? I had enough. The gym order is only a suggestion, and thanks to Scarlet and Violet's quote-unquote open world nature, we can battle any gym in any order we want to, so I'm just gonna skip her for now and go fight Kofu. I thought Kofu's gym trainer would be pretty easy, but I have a lot of thoughts that end up being incorrect, and this was one of them. Double Edge makes it so we take so much recoil, and then his Floatzel just must be friends with Iono's Wattrel since it flinched me twice in a row with bites. I just level up and spam headbutts and eventually get through him, but now we still have to fight the vaulting Veluza himself, Kofu. I figure a Trailblaze sweep was in order as it's super effective against all his water type foes, and also boosts our speed, but Veluza does a ton of damage to us, and as you can see, just because a move is super effective doesn't always mean the battle will be easy. This took many attempts too, and I leveled up Lechonk quite a bit, as although I don't want to just rely on over leveling for this entire run, there really isn't many other options. I try many strategies with Trailblaze, with workup, and eventually get to a point where I just got to such a high level that I can probably just deal with Iono a lot easier, so I go back and just fight her. My strategy for Iono this time is just to Trailblaze, then spam headbutts with the Metronome. We thankfully don't get paralyzed this time, and due to us gaining a lot of levels since the last time we fought Iono, we're able to get all the way up to Hermes Magius, which somehow lives a hit. The Pokegods must have shined down on us this battle though and gave us a flinch, and we take those to finally get a gym badge after like 4 or 5 hours of gameplay. And I thought Lechonk would be a easier run than other solo runs, but I guess I was wrong. Now, I'm not messing around anymore. I level up some more and go right back into Kofu's gym. My strategy is to work up and Trailblaze as Wugtrio lowers our speed, so we need a speed boost so we can outspeed his Ace Crabominable. Unfortunately, the Sandstorm is up this time in the battle, which messes up our plan, so we have to go again. This time I Trailblaze, then work up, then Trailblaze again like my name is Damian Lillard. This is enough to take out Veluza, finally, then his Wugtrio also goes down to Headbutt and lowers our speed by 1. All that's left now is his Ace Crabominable, and Headbutt looks to be a roll to KO. And yes, this run got so serious that I started running damage calcs for this pig. Double Edge looks like a guaranteed KO, but the recoil might do us in, which won't count as a win. I go for Double Edge anyway, and watch our HP bar drop all the way down to 2, and finally defeat Kofu. These last 2 gyms were so painful, and things will probably just get worse from here. At least now we can grind up some more on Chanseys and make some hand sandwiches, which when you think about it is kind of messed up, so Lechonk, look away while we make these sandwiches. After downing some ham sandwiches, we make our way to Larry's gym. He leads with a Komala that has Yawn and Sucker Punch. Yawn is annoying as it's hard to win double battles when you're asleep, and Sucker Punch can be tricky as well. My first thought is to set up on the Komala with workups and Trailblazes. If we hold the Chesto Berry in case we get yawned, we can just wake up too. We need the speed for Staraptor and to outspeed Komala after a couple of turns to take one less hit. I don't think level 46 is enough for this gym, but I try it out anyway and get super lucky as Komala misses 2 slams in a row. The Dunsparce then comes in and glares us, but we still take it out, and now we're just too slow and don't have enough health for his last Pokemon in Staraptor. I think this same plan is still a pretty good bet though, and I keep trying for a few attempts and level up some more, but either get double yawned by Komala to put us asleep or miss out on the KO on his Dunsparce to just get paralyzed by glare. I then realized that since Slam is doing about half damage, we need to be able to live 2 and outspeed, at least for his first 2 Pokemon. I went to level 56 later on, 20 levels above Larry's Ace, but the Komala kept going for Yawn 2 times in a row and just stopped going for Sucker Punches, and it would have been nice if Komala tried to Sucker Punch while I went for a move like Work Up, but no, it just never happened. I get pretty fed up and just go to level 60. This makes us faster than his Komala and a Dunsparce and tanky enough to take a third slam from Komala. I worked up before it yawned, then I work up again and decided to just start going for headbutts now. We're already faster than Komala and I don't want to risk going for Trailblaze just to be yawned again. A +2 headbutt is enough for his first 2 Pokemon, but his Staraptor still has Intimidate. We are definitely slower and I don't think a single headbutt at +1 will one-shot. I make the risky play of clicking Double Edge, and thankfully we still have enough HP to tank 1 Facade from Staraptor and live the recoil damage from Double Edge to finally defeat Larry. Then Nemona tries to fight us, but we're like 20 levels above her in Sweeper. Nice try, Nemona. Our 6th gym badge is against Orion, which is one of the scariest gyms to fight in a solo run. And no, this isn't me trying to make a silly joke about her gym being scary because she has Ghost or something like that. It's because it's a double battle gym and we're only using one single Pokemon in this run, so it's just a 1v2. We still technically need a partner Pokemon to start this battle, so I bring along the Fuecoco we started with and just have it go for tackles on her Ghost type Pokemon, which do nothing until it eventually falls. We got through all of her junior trainers surprisingly easy. Then for Orion, my strategy is to hold the leftovers item to heal as much as we can and go for workups to do more damage, and use Bullet Seed on Mimikyu. Bullet Seed is a multi-hit move which breaks Mimikyu's disguise, and we get lucky enough to have it hit 5 turns and just knock out Mimikyu. I also taught Lechonk Thief, the strongest dark type move it gets, and thanks to the crowd boosting our attack all the way to +4 and the leftovers healing us after the Spinette kept going for Sucker Punch, we actually get through this gym on the first try, but it was a lot easier than expected. A lot could have gone wrong in that fight, but it looks like our misfortune was taken up by Nemona, who crit flinched us on the first turn with Rock Slide and then just defeated us. The rival battles against Nemona don't really matter though, since even if you lose, you aren't forced to battle her again and can just move on anyway. For Tulip's gym, I just go right in to get a feel for how this battle will go. Her lead Fragriff has Reflect, which can be annoying, as no matter what, we have to set up at least 1 Trailblaze to outspeed her Gardevoir, and 1 Workup to be strong enough to knock out her Altaria. I kind of forgot about her Esparthra though, which was still faster even after a speed boost. I level up a bit more so we can take hits better while setting up in order to outspeed Esparthra, and on attempt 2, Lechonk loves us so much that it dodges 2 Zen headbutts, although one of them that hit us was a critical hit. This bought us enough time though to set up 2 workups with only 7 HP to spare. We outspeed and one-shot Gardevoir, then outspeed and crit her Espathra to assert dominance. Then her floor just lives a headbutt, but RIP Bozo get flinched, so we get our 7th gym badge. Considering the like 3 gym leader gap where we struggled so hard, I'll take this. I level up to 70 for Grusha and track down the Ironhead TM for his ice-type foes. He leads with Frostmoth and starts setting up after skillfully dodging a Blizzard. I then realize that Frostmoth can't really do much to us, so when it goes for Tailwind, I just set up some more. I got to like +3 attack and +2 speed, which was enough for his Frostmoth and Baratic, but somehow his Titan lived a hit. I got scared that Altaria would take a hit, so I risked going for workup again on Titan, take a hit from it, and finish off the rest of his Intrepid team with headbutts for our 8th gym badge. Things are going swimmingly now. I think pigs can swim, right? But we still have to defeat the Elite Four and stuff. I'm not messing around, so I just grind all the way to level 100 and prepare for the last leg of our pig's journey. I rush to the Elite Four and meet Rika, who has a somewhat calming yet intimidating presence to her. I know that sentence contradicts itself, but it sounded better when I wrote it out versus saying it out loud, which makes no sense. I figure she'd be the easiest battle of the Elite Four since Lechonk can tank hits from her special attacking Whiscash pretty well, as we only need a single workup and 1 Trailblaze to sweep the entire team. I meant to teach Lechonk Body Slam here too, but forgot and had Terra Blast, which is slightly weaker but also slightly stronger than Headbutt, and still got the job done first try. Second up, we have a rather unassuming little girl as our opponent, and you know what happens when you assume things. You begin to rip your hair out because her Steel-type Pokemon are really good defensively, and Lechonk only has resisted moves to hit Steel-type Pokemon. I then realized that we need to go for at least 1 Trailblaze to boost our speed for her later Pokemon, then we still need to work up at least a few times. Her lead Copperjaw goes for good damage with Heavy Slam, but we can yawn it and set up on it. I try this first, then realize that relying on sleep isn't enough, so I also go for Mud Slaps to lower the accuracy. This can hopefully buy us enough setup turns with the sleep, but it's heavily reliant on RNG, and we all know that RNG stands for really not good. We also need leftovers to tank 2 heavy slams from her copper jaw each time, and on top of that her Magnezone has sturdy, meaning it will guaranteed live an attack and get another attack off on us, which is hopefully a light screen. If it isn't light screen, then we're probably just dead unless we can somehow heal back enough HP with leftovers, or just use a potion. Now, I tried to do as much of this run as possible without using any items in battle, but after 2 days of just looking at this copper jaw, I started spamming healing items and I don't feel bad about it. This, combined with the yawn sleep turns, allowed us to get enough setup to sweep her entire team thanks to her Magnezone that lived a hit and then foolishly went for light screen. I know we're level 100 and +6, but it's still really funny seeing a Lechonk one-shot all these really high-level Pokemon. Third up is Larry, and he leads with the Tropius. Tropius is really weak, so weak that an actual beam of light that it summons from the sun only tickles Lechonk as we set up in his face with Trailblaze and Workup and then promptly just sweep Larry. For Brassius, he has a Noivern that's really fast, but he leads with it, so no matter what, we have to take a hit from it. We need to Trailblaze to outspeed his Haxorus, and thankfully we can also tank Noivern hits really well. None of his Pokemon resist normal too, so we don't have to set up as much. However, we do get poisoned by his Dragalge's ability. This was scary at first, but since we were able to one-shot the rest of his team and had the leftovers item, we beat Hassel first try. I really thought we need those Ice Terra Shards here too, but I guess not. And now we have the champion, Geeta. Imagine the look on her face when she hears that she has a challenger and it turns out to be some kid with his tiny little pet pig. While Workup has been our best friend this entire run, she leads with a Sparther that has an ability that just takes our stat boost and doubles it. Workup boosts attack and special attack, so going for Workup just boosts her special attack. And it has the attack Lumina Crash, which lowers our special defense, making this one tough turkey, or ostrich. I don't know what this thing is supposed to be, but turkey fit the alliteration better. I tried so many different strategies here, from setting up on his Sprouther while it was asleep to knock it out as fast as I could so I can then set up on her Avalugg, but her Avalugg has a fighting type move in Body Press which does a ton of damage. We also need the move Dig for her Kingambit and Glimmora, so we don't have enough move slots to go for Mudslap strats yet either. This is another situation where I decided to just spam heal so we can set up enough, and after I don't know how many attempts, I'm able to complete the setup and one-shot everything up until her ace Glimmora. I know she's faster since at this point we didn't have Trailblaze, but I forgot that Espathra will always lower our special defense so Glimmora can easily knock us out in one hit. So close, yet so far, and now that we need to be faster than Glimmora, we have to try to go for Trailblazes, which means we have to get rid of Dig, which also means we have to go to +6 now to one-shot all of our Pokemon, as we were normally going for +3 or +4, which isn't enough for Kingambit, so we need a few extra turns to set up. Metronome also helps with some damage rolls, so let's see if we can figure this out. I try this strategy to no avail and do a few other attempts, then just decide to embrace the RNG and Mudslap again. This means we have to get rid of Trailblaze, but I can also use an X speed to increase our speed anyway. We get super lucky and dodge a Lumina Crash on this attempt, and then it set up a Reflect as we yawn, allowing us to spam Mudslap, Workup, and X speed pretty easily. We did have to spam some heals in between there a bit, but we finally are able to get the proper setup off that I wanted to one-shot her Espathra, also one-shot the Avalugg, one-shot Kingambit, Veluza, and Glimmora since we now outspeed it and a +6 body slam is enough. I know some people out there don't like that we use items in battle in this run, but I still became the champion with just a single Lechonk. When we leave the Elite Four, we have another fight against Nemona, and Lechonk matches up surprisingly well against her team, so we can set up on Lycanroc, not get flinched, and just sweep her again. Now I thought about ending it there, but we aren't done just yet. Imagine how funny it would be to beat the big bad AI professor with just one small chonky pig. Let's find out. We have to finish off the other Team Star bases first, and being level 100 made most of them pretty easy, and maybe in hindsight I should have challenged these as we were going through the game normally and not just at the end. The only one that was a challenge was the fighting type one, which is also the highest level Team Star base. That's very inconvenient when you're only using a normal type pig. At first I thought that Metronome Headbutt spam would do it since it's our bread and butter strategy, but she has an Annihilate which is immune to Headbutt. We can learn Play Rough though at least, which does hit her whole team for super effective damage, but it's only 90% accurate, so we better not miss. I tried so many different strategies from Work Up to Trailblaze, and then realized that I haven't tried Yawn yet. I use this to yawn her lead Toxicroak. We can tank 2 Brick Breaks just barely this way. Then we can Work Up twice, Trailblaze while it's asleep, and spam Play Roughs with our Metronome. My first try with this strategy doesn't go too well since Toxicroak woke up early, but on the next try it works really well and we don't miss a Play Rough to finally defeat this base. As for the battles against Arven and Penny and that, they are a bit weaker than the champions, so setting up workups on their leads wasn't much of a problem. Although Penny was a bit annoying since all of her evolutions have baby doll eyes which lower our attack stat, but we can tank hits pretty well from her anyway and don't need to set up as much. I also noticed here that her whole team is evolutions besides Espeon. Why does she just not have an Espeon? Before venturing into Area 0 to hammer away at the Professor, I put those Ice Terra Shards to use and make Lechonk's Terra type Ice type. This will be great for the AI Professor's Brute Bonnet and Roaring Moon, however we still need to get some extra setup off against her first. She leads with Slitherwing, a very cool Pokemon that has low sweep, a fighting type move that can 2-shot Lechonk. This means we have to yawn it, heal, spam some Mud Slaps to lower accuracy, then set up while it's asleep or at -6 accuracy so we can skillfully dodge as many hits as possible. X items came in handy here too since we needed at least +2 speed to outspeed her Flutter Mane. And once we set up and take out her Slitherwing, we use our Ice type Terra Blast to one-shot her whole team, even Roaring Moon. Setup moves are definitely the MVP when doing a solo run with a less than strong Pokemon as Lechonk. But now that we beat the Professor, that'll do, pig. That'll do.